You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. The debate that took place on Saturday between him and Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is real concerned about this particular race and how it will actually impact the voters there. He complained often in that particular debate and then about Jamie Harrison, all this money he is being raised. One of the issues that came up dealt with that of the Supreme Court. And remember, Lindsey Graham said, use my own words against me. Even in Trump's final year, if a Supreme Court vacancy comes up, we're not going to fill it. Jamie Harrison reminded him of that at the debate on Saturday.
Son, you change the rules. He changes the rules every time he gets. You know, Senator, you said, use my words against me. And you said it after the Kavanaugh meetings, not before the Kavanaugh hearings, after the Kavanaugh hearings. And your words, your promise was that no judicial nominee should be considered or approved or what have you in the last year of an election. And you even named President Trump when you said it. And so this is my thing. You know, my grandfather always taught me, he said, Jamie, a man is only as good as his word. Well, Senator, how good is your word when you made a promise to the American people? And even more, you made a promise to the folks in South Carolina that you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now. It reminds me of playing Monopoly with my son. You changed the...
I showed you earlier that plexiglass that was actually set up between the two of them, and the issue, of course, the pandemic also came up in this debate. This is what Harrison had to say about that.
This has impacted me personally, Judith. My grandaunt Gladys passed away this July in a nursing home by herself. That is the story that so many Americans are experiencing right now. And part of why we're experiencing, no, we're not going to blame the president. We shouldn't blame the president. We shouldn't blame anybody for the inception of this disease. But where blame should come is how we handle this disease, whether or not we take it seriously. You know, tonight I am taking it seriously. That's why I put this plexiglass up, because, you know, it's not just about me. It's about the people in my life that I have to take care of as well. My two boys, my wife, my grandmother. We need to make sure we are addressing the issue here in South Carolina. We have had 750,000 people unemployed here in South Carolina because of the COVID. We've had 3,000 people to die. We've had over 100,000 to be infected. Let's take this issue seriously and do all that we can to not only take care of ourselves, but each other.
Joining us right now is Meg Kennard. She is the Associated Press correspondent there in South Carolina. She, of course, has been covering this race, was at the debate. She's national politics reporter for Associated Press. All right, Meg, give us a sense. that plexiglass was pretty interesting. Was anyone aware that Harrison was going to bring that with him?
Certainly none of us there in the audience. And hello, Roland. It's good to be back with you as always. You know, when I walked into the debate hall that night, a couple hours before game time, and saw that partition, I was kind of wondering, okay, which candidate's side is that? Because they weren't labeled. And through talking to some folks there, realized that that was what Jamie Harrison had requested. His campaign told me that they wanted that set up pretty much because Lindsey Graham, through his roles in the Senate and heading up the Judiciary Committee and his relationship with President Trump, he's been around a lot of people who've recently released the results of positive COVID tests and come down with COVID. And so the Harrison campaign said that per CDC guidelines and recommendations that anybody who has contact with someone who turns up to be positive, that they should quarantine. And now, you know, both men said that they tested negative the day before the debate, but Harrison's campaign said they weren't taking any chances for those reasons that Jamie noted during the debate, but also perhaps to make a point that was very visible.
What has been the reaction in the state to this particular debate? There were a lot of very pointed questions. These moderators should have been there for the first Trump-Biden debate. They definitely kept people on point and on task. But it seemed as if Graham was real nervous. He was rocking constantly the whole time. He knows that he could very well lose this race. He has not faced any type of opposition like this since he has run since he's been a United States Senator.
This is definitely the closest general election that Senator Graham has had in South Carolina. I'm not sure if it's something we talked about last time, but 6 years ago when he ran, the fundraising in that race didn't even get up to $8 million, and now we're talking about more than $60 million. So this is definitely a different kind of campaign. But folks who watched that debate, I don't really think it changed a whole lot of minds. I think that both candidates got a lot of their points out there and spoke to constituencies that are likely watching them very closely, but already probably supporting them. And so for that sliver of voters in the middle who've yet to make up their minds, who aren't sure which candidate's going to get their support, they probably still have a little bit more thinking to do, since there was a lot of very partisan talk. There was a lot of painting this race in kind of national strokes in terms of, tying each candidate to a more national ideology and not just representing the issues of South Carolina. We all know that the balance of the Senate is at stake, and so there's a lot going on there. But all in all, in these closing weeks, these candidates are really going to have to continue to get their message out, because as we've seen, from all appearances, this race has tightened up a whole lot in the last couple of months.
Where is it going to be decided? And again, why all of a sudden is it tightened? Is it because there are a number of people who are simply dissatisfied with Donald Trump's job? I mean, look, this is considered a deep red state, and Republicans look at this as a guaranteed victory. Donald Trump is up, in a significant way over Joe Biden in South Carolina. But why is this race tight?
Yeah, this is still South Carolina, where Republicans are in every statewide elected office, control both chambers of the legislature, and most of our congressional delegation. So, a South Carolinian, a Democrat, hasn't been sent to Washington from South Carolina statewide in quite some time. And so really, when you look at the voters in this state who do vote straight party, a lot of them vote Republican straight party. And if those voters are going and supporting Donald Trump, then in order to not also be supporting Lindsey Graham, they wouldn't be able to do that and would have to kind of parse out those Republican offices. Jamie Harrison knows that he needs to be able to cleave away some of that support and continues to make that argument. But one of the reasons why this race has gotten so much attention is because from its very inception, Jamie got a lot of national attention, got national fundraising dollars. That's why you've seen the fundraising on this side of the race totally balloon compared to cycles past. Democrats in South Carolina generally don't raise this kind of money, and a lot of his money has come from elsewhere. Those people can't vote here, but they certainly have been able to get Jamie the money that he's needed to stay on the airwaves, to do the kind of advertising that a lot of Democrats in this region generally don't have the opportunity to do, particularly with Senator Graham's position as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. There are a lot of eyes on him in that role as well. So given the Supreme Court nominating process that's going on, that just adds another layer of interest to this contest.
But also, I just saw that outside PAC's about to drop $10 million to help Lindsey Graham, so he's certainly not complaining about their outside money.
Yeah, the Senate Leadership Fund has recently announced that they're going to be spending $10 million in the closing weeks of this race to support Senator Graham. So certainly there's been a lot of PAC activity going on both sides, but that is certainly a last-minute kind of sign of strength in terms of helping keep his message out there. Senator Graham's fundraising has not been shabby. He and Jamie Harrison have been just about matched in terms of the amount of money that they themselves through their campaigns have been bringing in. So everyone here, as well as on national cable as well, but there have been a whole lot of ads being run. You can barely turn on the TV without seeing one from one side or the other, or a political action committee or another third-party group. So, yes, it's going to get even more intense in the last couple of weeks.
Last question for you. Jamie Harrison desperately needs massive black turnout. Coronavirus has obviously impacted all of that in terms of being able to directly engage with voters. Are we seeing significant amounts of energy among African Americans in South Carolina getting behind his candidacy?
You're right. He certainly needs that. And a lot of the voters that I've talked to throughout the campaign, particularly Black voters, since they do make up most of the Democratic voters here, are very excited about Jamie. Obviously, South Carolina already has a Black senator in Tim Scott, who happens to be a Republican. But in terms of Jamie's candidacy, yes, it does seem like there's a lot of interest, particularly among Black voters. I was out at the Richland County voting office today because in-person absentee voting started here in South Carolina. And I talked to many voters, some of them African American, who are very excited about this race. And they're out there on the very first day that they could actually vote in person to go ahead and cast their ballots. So among all voters in South Carolina, I think that there is, we went through that whole presidential primary process. There's been a whole lot of attention on this state for a very long time.
And that was massive turnout in that primary.
That was a lot of turnout. You're right. Record-setting turnout in the Democratic primary, which was open to voters in both parties. You didn't just have to be a Democrat, but that does certainly portend that we'll be looking at significant numbers of voters in the general election, too.
All right, then. Mayor Kennard, Associated Press. We surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Always good to see you.
All right, folks. Back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks at Seek.com, of course, they Black-owned company founded by Mary Spiel. They have a couple of great products that you can actually get. This is their VR headset. This headset, folks, allows for you to actually take your cell phone, pop it right into here, close it up, and then you can actually watch the VR content, the virtual reality content on Seek.com right there through your phone. Actually, it's pretty cool. You can also look at 360-degree video from other websites as well, and it puts you literally right there where the video was shot. And so they have this particular headset right here. They also have their 360-degree 4D headphones. And so these headphones right here, which are Bluetooth. Also, they have the headset, which you use for when if you're for all you gamers out there. And then, of course, it has this amazing sound, really, which actually covers around. Typically, just have the headphones just right here, but this actually has a sound that goes all around your head. I love these headphones. Love listening to music with them and watching videos as well. And so, all you got to do, folks, is go to Seek.com, Seek.com. Use the promo code RMVIP 2020. That's RMVIP 2020 to actually try these out. And so that's what we want you to do. All right, folks. So again, go to Seek.com.